Welcome to the Alcohol Free Life podcast, brought to you by thesoberclub.com. I'm Janie Lee Grace. This is for you if you've quit the booze or you'd like to, or maybe you're just sober curious. I'll bring you tips and motivation without any judgment, and there'll be inspiration from experts, quit-lit authors, and sober heroes. Hi, and welcome to the podcast. I hope you're doing well. I've had another very busy week being on the radio. It's been great, though. It's been really great fun. I had some fantastic guests. And across the conversations, it's amazing you sort of discover how many people are sober. It's been really great. I interviewed a local forager in Northampton who takes people on foraging walks. Fascinating stuff. I'm definitely going to get her on the podcast. And she was saying how much, just as part of the conversation, how much sobriety has helped her with her mental health. And we know that, don't we? Absolutely. Did you see the piece in the week as well in the media about how even one glass is linked to dementia? I was so glad that this stuff is all coming out in the mainstream. And Dr. Anya Topiwala was quoted in the piece again. If you remember, she was the clinical lead that I interviewed on the podcast a few years ago now. And she's really hard hitting. I'd love to try and get her on the show again. I love the fact that she just talks straight and really tells it like it is in terms of aging. Oh, and by the way, everything else, even one glass is harmful, even one glass. So if you're interested in that podcast, check out the one that I did with Anya. If you go to thesoberclub.com and then you type in Dr. Anya Topiwala, you should come up with that article, The Truth About Alcohol, which also gives a link to the original podcast that I did with Dr. Anya. So stuff's coming out in the press, which is all really fantastic news, isn't it? And in the Sober Club, there's quite a few people who are loving their early days of sobriety, which is great, and a few others who are kind of just gearing up to Sober October. You know, they've got this idea, well, I won't do September, I'll start from October. So they're kind of holding themselves in readiness. I mean, of course, I'd say start now. You know, what are you waiting for? It's the best thing you'll ever do. Do it now. But if you are determined, then, you know, that's all right. Do your prep. Get a few things in place. Above all, make sure you commit to focusing on only what you're gaining, and make this decision non-negotiable. Just that actually takes a lot of stress out of it. I think when you do Sober October or Dry January or any of these kind of challenges, there's this feeling that, oh, well, you've only got to get through a certain amount of time. And if anything, it makes it harder. If you just make a decision, you know what, I'm gonna be alcohol free till January, or I'm gonna do a year. It takes the stress out of it. You don't have to be sort of agonizing over, oh, how many more days have I got left? Just make it non-negotiable, make it a commitment, and then it's done. And then you really start to see the benefits. Because I've said so many times, I am a fan, in inverted commas, of the Sober Octobers and the various challenges, because they can be great to kickstart everything, and it can be a really good way of getting started in this kind of scene, if you like, at a similar time to everyone else. So there's a little bit of safety in numbers, and if you go out to a bar or a pub, that chances are they've got more alcohol-free drinks on offer, and it's not seen as in any way unusual, and all of that. So there can be a beauty in that, but ultimately you want to do it for a bit longer, because then you're going to really see the benefits, and that's the reason we're doing it. It's not deprivation, it's because this is the best thing you'll ever do. So in next week's show, we'll be a couple of days into October, and I'll give you a whole bunch of definite sort of tips and techniques to do the month, to really focus on the month. Of course, the best thing you could do is get some connections. So, join a group, get connected. Of course, I'd love it if you wanted to join us in the Sober Club. We have just, a wealth of experience in there, where it's just being with like-minded people who will cheerlead you, and, people who are ahead of you, people who are behind you. Everyone's got something to share. And of course, our focus in the Sober Club is on well-being, on living your best life, on becoming who you really are. It's very special, and there's a real kind of message of positivity in there, and everyone kind of lifts each other's spirits, really. So yeah, of course, I'd love you to join us in the Sober Club, thesoberclub.com. And then for those of you who are much further ahead and you ditched the booze some time ago, but you still love listening to these podcasts, thank you. I'm really glad you do. Then if you've been thinking, I'd like to give back, I'd really love to do something now that supports other people, or I'd like to just properly lay the foundations for my own well-being, then check out our Sober Coach training, because I do have a free webinar coming up on Monday, 29th of September. It's absolutely not salesy pressure at all. We'll do some fun stuff about, kind of exploring your purpose, and you get to find out, of course, what it means to be a sober coach and what it doesn't. So please feel free to join us if you'd like to. You do have to register for that, though. So if you go to thesoberclub.com, click on events, and you can register to be part of that free webinar Monday 29th at 7:30 p.m. And then, of course, I must remind you that I'm going to be part of a very special self-care retreat, 24th to the 27th of October. And that's at Homefield Grange Spa. So we're talking a beautiful, it's right out in the countryside. It's just the most gorgeous venue. It's like being in a absolutely gorgeous country house. And you really do feel kind of nurtured and pampered, but in a really good way. And the thing about Homefield Grange is that it's truly holistic. I've been to a lot of places, a lot of venues where they claim that it's a detox retreat, but it isn't really. And when you actually sort of follow everything through, you really are sort of ending up with a shed load of chemicals, and not very good food at a lot of places. But Homefield Grange Spa, I can honestly say, is fantastic food, absolutely fantastic, properly healthy. We do a great chef's demo as part of the retreat, by the way. So you learn to actually prepare and cook some of this really healthy food. And they really do follow it through. So you genuinely are focusing on proper well-being, reducing your toxic load. And obviously, we're going to be talking sobriety, mindset, and all things self-care, and giving you tools to take away so that you know how to balance your own nervous system and bring yourself back to that point of balance. So again, if you go to thesoberclub.com, click on events, and you'll see the little pic there for Homefield Grange Spa, or just follow them on the socials as well. So that's the event stuff. This week, I'm going to be chatting to Laurence from Essex RecoveryFoundation. I'm sure some of you went to their fabulous festival in the summer. Now it's super exciting that they've got this great new cafe opening. So really pleased to be able to chat to Laurence. Just before we do that, just a quick mention that I'm going to be planning a kind of Christmas meetup, if you like, live podcast recording. It's almost certainly going to be in the first week of December. So if I can get you to sort of put a pencil loosely in your diary, it would be so great to get to meet some of you. It will be in London, and it'd be lovely to meet some more podcast listeners on that event. If you know you'd like to come, drop me a quick message and tell me your preferred date, because may as well look after the people who are likely to be coming. So that's hopefully going to be the first week of December for a Christmas kind of thingy. Would you like to become an accredited sober coach? Have you quit drinking and found yourself looking for a new purpose? Thousands of people are searching for help to quit and live their best life without the booze. Our Sober Coach training gives you the tools, the confidence, and the community to support others. No experience needed, except knowing what it feels like to have drunk more than you wanted to. We start with 2 transformational in-person days. Then you join our coaches family with ongoing support and webinars to help you use your skills in ways that suit you. If you're already a coach or a therapist, this could be an in-demand extra string to your bow, or a whole new career opportunity as a Sober Club accredited coach. For more info, visit thesoberclub.com and click on the Become a Sober Coach menu item. My guest is Laurence Hickmott from the Essex RecoveryFoundation. How are you, Laurence?
Yeah, I'm really good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm great, thanks. So exciting seeing all the stuff that's been happening with the Essex Recovery Festival in the summer, and all the various things you're doing, and now this cafe that you're launching. Oh God, I love the whole idea of that. Love my
Mm.
coffee, so as long as you got good coffee, I will be
Yeah,
there. But yeah,
thanks.
just take me back before we'll talk about that. But just tell me a bit about your story. What got you into doing? You're the CEO, is that right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, that's right. Yeah,
What's your kind of personal background story?
my personal background. So yeah, I mean, I'm in recovery myself. Um, I have been in recovery for just over 7 years now. Um, I I mean, in terms of, sorry, when you say personal, do you mean like,
Well, I
do
just
you
mean
want,
share any part of your story that you want to share. What happened for you? How did you end up doing this work?
yeah. Um, I was a chief executive of a sports charity before this. I've been in the role of CEO for Essex Recovery Foundation for about nearly 4 years actually now.
Mm,
But I was going through a time in my life when I was working for a sports charity where, things were, becoming increasingly difficult for me in terms of my drinking and my own mental health.
yeah,
And that's the point in my life where I decided that I needed to get help. Um, I'd come to the end. I knew that I couldn't sort of continue the way that I was. Um, so really, I started my sort of my journey of recovery at that point, which was sort of about 8 years ago or so now. And then slowly but surely, I started to come to realize that actually I wanted to give more service and give more time to recovery in general. And I saw the job come up for Essex Recovery Foundation, and as I was sort of working as a CEO at the time, I I saw this opportunity and thought that this is perfect for me. This is a great opportunity for me to still do what I do and lead a charity, but
mm,
within recovery.
yeah,
And that's how I've ended up here. Really, just the pure sort of drive, really, and enthusiasm to make a difference
yeah, yeah.
within recovery. Yeah, yeah.
Tell us a bit about the charity then. I mean, how long have they been going, and what's the kind of structure of it?
Yeah, so I mean, going way back actually, the head of commissioning for drug and alcohol services at Essex County Council, Ben Hughes, he has had a long-standing and long-term vision uh, to set up a charity which is kind of led by people with lived experience and living experience of addiction and recovery. Um, and it was his dream, I think, really, to set this up in the beginning, and that was years ago.
Mm,
Um, so he went about pulling together some voluntary trustees, some people with lived experience, to set up Essex Recovery Foundation as a registered charity. It was finally registered in 2019, but with obviously with the pandemic and everything, the progress was sort of stunted around that time, and it was only until 2021 when the charity started to get some funding in to actually employ members of staff and so on.
mm,
So during those 2 years, I think there was a lot of groundwork done. People doing a lot of voluntary work trying to build an online community in COVID. But what they did do really successfully was that they managed to acquire some funding from National Lottery and from Essex County Council, and then they set about employing myself. And employed at the time the job role was director. So yeah, and from there, I successfully got that role, obviously, and from sort of November 2021, I've then from just me and a few, well, yeah, a handful of voluntary trustees, I've managed to kind of grow Essex Recovery Foundation from myself as a paid member of staff to now, sort of 15 members of staff and numerous volunteers and a growing community of people with lived experience of well over 2,000 people.
Yeah.
Running festivals, opening cafes, opening spaces, So
Yeah.
yeah, it's grown in a short space of time.
Yeah, it really has. That's amazing. That's a fantastic achievement, isn't it? So
Yeah.
what does, apart from obviously the festivals, what do you offer as a charity?
So yeah, I mean, we've created basically a strategy which covers four sort of key areas really. Um, that is growing a community, which, as I've just highlighted, we've got over 2,000 people kind of signed up as part of our recovery community. But yeah, so the first part is building a thriving community of people in recovery, and we do that by we've opened up various spaces. So not just our own kind of cafe that we own, but we've set up recovery cafes throughout Essex, across Essex, in partnership with existing venues like theatres, community spaces, and so on.
Well, you've just done kind of pop-ups from time to
Yeah,
time. Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, they run every week in the
Oh,
same
they do.
space.
Right.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, we've got them in all areas of Essex really, and we trialed that, to see how that went, so that we didn't have to commit to, kind of having our own space, buying somewhere or renting somewhere,
Mm,
and obviously that proved to be really successful. Hence why we're in a position now to open up our own space.
mm,
But yeah, we've been building that community by doing lots of outreach, by doing walk and talks, yeah, all those kinds of things really that bring people together and allow
mm.
people to connect in a safe space with us, our staff and volunteers facilitating that.
Yeah.
The second part of the strategy is all about empowering those people through various courses, and we do things like we call it speaker boot camp, where people who have lived experience and want to share their story, in different settings, we support them, nurture them, coach them to be able to talk about their journeys in a way which is safe for them, and but also gives people the opportunity to hear their stories of strength and hope.
Mm,
And then really key part of our work is the third section, which is around radical change, really. One of the things that Ben Hughes, who wanted to set us up in the first place, what he wanted us to do was to really give people a voice. And so people with lived experience to actually start shaping how the how the drug and alcohol services across Essex are rolled out, what support is available, what treatment, what recovery support is available out there. His whole philosophy was that those services should be shaped by the very people that have lived it and been
mm,
through it. And in his mind, he doesn't have the lived experience of addiction. He's fantastic at what he does as a professional, but he recognised that he didn't have that experience. So he wants, and we are actively inputting into those commissioning decisions around how drug and alcohol services are shaped,
yeah.
which is a key piece of the work. So we're already, we've been doing that for the last couple of years, and it's going extremely well. We've got community researchers that do so much kind of work in partnership with universities and the services that are delivering the treatment and everything and the support. And yeah, that's all going extremely well, and that's a core kind of part of what we do.
Yeah.
But then the fourth part of the strategy that we're working on is all about changing perceptions and breaking down the stigma that still surrounds addiction and recovery. So hence why we're setting up festivals and cafes
Mm.
and launching. We're launching our own recovery podcast in January, so that we can it's all about making recovery visible, so that we can help to encourage and I guess educate society in a way that addiction isn't necessarily what a lot of people think it is,
Mm, yeah.
and that we all can suffer from this at some stage in our lives, so yeah, that's kind of like that's the holistic sort of overview of what we do as a charity.
Sure, sure. So just taking you back to the third one, you were talking about the
Mm,
radical change. I think
yeah,
that's brilliant that you are finding a way of connecting and helping to shape the point of contact and the various services that are available. Because in my limited experience, it seems, well, not to put too fine a point on it, it seems as though across the UK as a whole, it's a mess, right? I mean, is that
Yeah.
fair? It's
Uh,
I
yeah.
hope it isn't in Essex. I hope you know what you're doing. But you know, as you know, I work as a coach, and I train coaches, and we work typically with people who are, you know, grey area drinkers, as the expression might be. So thankfully,
Mm,
most of them haven't had to actually access addiction services from their GP or whatever. They haven't got to that stage. You know,
mm,
thank God there, but for the grace of God, of course, they've been able to recognize it's time to get off the booze elevator.
yeah.
However, of course, with the work that we do, we occasionally come up against someone who we can't work with as sober coaches. We need to refer them on. You know, it's not our remit, so we need to be able to say, you need to go get some support and help. And depending on where they live, that's almost impossible to know where to send them. I
Yeah.
mean, is that fair? I mean, it's crazy that it should be like that.
It is. It is fair to say that. And you know, it is, if you look at it in such a basic level, if you type into Google, for example, you know, support for addiction in Essex or whatever, you know, the first things that will come up in a Google search are really expensive private rehabs, for
Right.
example.
Yeah.
But the reality is that there are so many free services available to people where they can get help, but it's just not necessarily known at the moment. And that's, you know, another thing that we're working on. We've been working on a project for the last sort of 9 months where we're building a separate section of our website so that it just becomes very, very, you know, clear and simple for people to be able to navigate to the right, you know, services that they need. So
Sure.
yeah, it's, yeah, sorry.
I mean, well, no, all I was going to say is, so, I mean, one client that I had, or somebody that I was going to work with, was explaining to me that some years ago she had rocked up to a GP and, you know, expressed that she knew she needed, you know, some support or whatever. And so the GP had put her onto some kind of alcohol services program where it wasn't a rehab, it was a at home, as it were, but
Yeah.
she had to rock up to various meetings and various things that she had to attend. Well, this woman was holding down a full-time job. I mean, good for her, right? Good for
Yeah.
her. She's holding down a full-time job, which
Yeah.
meant that she could attend none of these, like none of them. So how does that
Mm.
work? How is that going to support her? You know, it's almost like the thinking is not joined up, is it here?
Yeah, no, it's not, and you know there are a lot of people that are in similar situations to that, and that is something that you know is fed back to us actually
Mm,
quite regularly. So, and this is why it's important that we have you know people with lived experiences that have been through the
yeah,
services that understand you know that
definitely.
these are challenges that people come up against. So, you know, if there aren't the opportunities to access these services, you know, evenings or weekends or at times when people can actually go when they're not working and so on, you know, we need to be feeding that back
Mm.
to the commissioners and to the services so that you know we can start to make these changes. You know, that's why it's really important in what we're doing in that third part of our strategy.
Yeah, yeah, it really is. I mean, what would you like to see happen? What would be the sort of pathway, the kind of route that you would like to have happen, you know, across the country, not just Essex?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting to say across the country because you know we're also sort of doing a lot of work nationally around trying to encourage other areas to sort of be interested to adopt the model that we're
Yeah,
setting up in Essex or have set up in Essex because um, it's a brave move. You know, it's a brave move for a local authority to put so much trust and faith into an organisation that's full and that's led by people with lived
yeah,
experience. You know,
yeah.
um, and I mean our vision for it really is for this to become for everyone, you know, in all the local authorities across the country to be able to work meaningfully together. You know, this it can't just be all handed over, you know, no questions asked
Mm,
to charities like ours. But what we're doing well is working really closely in partnership with the local authority who have got all the commissioning expertise and everything, you know, the administrative side of it, where the governance and the legislation has to all be in place. And we provide, I guess, the humanity, the real input from human beings, and they make sure that that's done in a legal and professional way.
Yeah.
So our vision is that we can continue to build upon that and actually instill policy change from the top down, really.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's our dream.
Yeah. Well, yeah, fantastic. It's great that you're doing that work. It really is. And then obviously, as you say, your fourth pillar, it's super important. Let's just get rid of the stigma. Let's just have it out there. It's actually crazy, really, isn't it? Now, these days, that anyone should feel in any way embarrassed about that choice. It's really crazy. So obviously, just tell us a little bit about the festival. I know you had a really successful festival this summer. Just share a bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, from a personal perspective, first of all, it was. I was talking about this earlier today, that it was the most amount of fun that I've ever had in recovery, but also just in general
Yeah,
throughout my life.
exactly. Who
It
says being
was
sober is boring? Absolutely not.
exactly. I completely let go of any inhibitions I had. And I was dancing around. At one point, I had a pink tutu on and a wig and some sunglasses, and we was
Yeah.
dancing. And yeah, but this is the environment, and the space that our organization has created
Yeah.
to enable people to feel safe enough to be that way. And that's all down to the team at Essex Recovery Foundation, from all of our staff to the volunteers, the people that just come along and want to have fun. It was such a beautiful experience. We had this. I know this sounds a bit strange, but just little things like having a tent where you can go and charge your mobile phones, an
Mm,
open marquee type thing where
mm,
you could just go
mm.
and leave people just leaving their phones there, at a
Yeah,
normal
that sense of
festival. Everyone's,
trust. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
everyone completely and utterly respectful of one
Yeah.
another.
Yeah.
There were no issues at all throughout the whole weekend of anyone going and charging their phone. I know that's like
No,
a
no,
strange example, but it just
it's a
highlights.
brilliant example actually, because I think it highlights the fact that sober people are kind. There really
Yeah,
is that kindness. I do believe
yeah.
that if everyone was sober, the world would be a completely different place.
Well, I completely agree. This is, I think the culture of recovery offers so much to society in general.
Yeah,
I think that's the point. I think if we can, and this is the point about that fourth section of the strategy. It is about talking to people that might not necessarily know anything about addiction and recovery, but encouraging them to understand that actually the way that people choose to live their lives now is an inspiration to anyone.
yeah,
You know.
exactly. And as we've said, I've said on this podcast, I mean, a million times, but it's about so much more than, in inverted commas, just not drinking. You
Yeah.
actually just get to transform and become the person you're meant to be, and that's the joy, isn't it? Well, I'm
Mm,
sure you're already planning next year's festival, and I'd love to be part of
yeah.
it. This year I was speaking at an event with Barbara O'Neill, so I ended up missing yours. But next year,
Oh,
please,
yeah.
you heard it here first. I'd love to be involved.
We'd love to
Um,
have you there. Yeah.
so yeah, tell me about the cafe then. This is super exciting. I saw your post come up with a little picture of a cup of coffee, and I thought, yeah, I'm in.
Yeah. Well, the cafe has been another sort of dream of ours, really. I'll just quickly give you I suppose, a snapshot of where it all started from. It was
Mm,
October 2022, I think, and we held like a, a gathering, people coming together from across the recovery community. And at that point, we were, it was early days for us. So, I think we had 22 people in the room, but 22 people with lived experience of addiction and recovery. And we did this workshop where we just said, right, imagine you had, a couple of £100,000 at your disposal for the recovery community. What is it you would want to do
mm.
with that money, and we had a great session, brainstorming lots and lots of different ideas, fun things, really serious things that would support the recovery community. But the two overarching things and themes that kept coming out was the festival
Mm.
and a cafe, our own space,
Yeah.
so that people could come to that space whenever they wanted, obviously during opening hours, and have that space that was theirs, that they felt
Mm.
comfortable and safe in, so that, they could be around like-minded people whenever they wanted to be. So that was where originally the idea was born from. And as I've said before, we didn't jump straight into that. We went about it in a measured way,
Well,
by
it's a huge
testing.
amount of work, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah, it
you've
is.
got
Yeah, yeah,
premises, you've got staffing, you've got to
yeah,
buy everything. It's not
yeah,
simple.
yeah. So yeah, we sort of went about it initially by setting up, weekly pop-ups
Yeah.
across different boroughs in Essex. They've been going on for a good couple of years now and been really, really successful. So we know that
The model works.
the
Yeah.
model works.
Yeah.
Yeah. So about a year ago now, I felt that the time was right to embark on, getting the funding in to create our own space, to own our own space. And I successfully managed to get some funding from Essex County Council and the Wolfson Foundation, which I give a big shout out to, obviously, because
Hmm.
without them, those two organisations, this wouldn't be happening. And yeah, from there, we've set about, renting a great premises in Chelmsford, next to the County Hotel, just up the road from the train station. And we've been working with a fantastic hospitality consultancy company called The Engine Room, who've really supported us. They really got the vision from the word go.
Mm.
And, between us, we've managed to just create this beautiful space, which, on every time anyone walks in there, they literally look around and stand at the front door and they just say, "Wow!"
Yeah.
Like they
And
can't
there's
believe.
gonna be that sense of feeling welcome, isn't there?
Yeah,
I can tell.
yeah,
That's what's gonna happen.
without a doubt, is
Yeah.
that is how it is. But what I like about it most is that sometimes, if people think about sort of community cafes, you might get a feeling or a sense of it's going to be a bit dry and stuffy, and things are going to be done in a way which is sort of saving on pennies and that sort of
Mm.
stuff. And actually, the thing that I wanted to make sure was that this was a really, really good high spec, space that shows that people in recovery are worth it,
Mm.
and
Yeah.
to have something for everybody to aspire to. And so, what we've created is like walking into some lovely cafe in central London.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. We've partnered up with Redemption Roasters. Everything we're doing,
Oh, have you? Oh, that's
yeah,
fantastic. So you've got
yeah.
proper coffee. I'm really
We've got
impressed.
specialty
I
coffee
love Redemption
with
Roasters.
coffee beans that, are roasted at HMP the Mount. So
Yeah, yeah,
it's
near where I am in Hertfordshire. Yeah,
yeah. So everything we're doing is all about social value. It's all about making sure that we're trying to work with people that are doing similar things to us.
that's great.
Yeah. So we've got great coffee. We've got an amazing team that we've employed. From the recovery community. They're doing so well. I'm so proud of the fact that people that have literally come through the services in Essex, through their own journey, and then volunteered with us, have now come on to be employed by
Yeah,
us,
yeah. Isn't that
and
great?
are working behind that counter, serving coffee with a smile, and able to, give their experience of recovery, which is
Love
what
it.
it's all about.
Yeah. So you open next week, and what will be the opening hours?
So the opening hours are 7 a.m. to 4 p.m., Monday to Friday at the moment. There will be plans to open at the weekend once we're bedded in to
Yeah.
those initial opening times. But what I would say is that people can, keep an eye out on our social media and everything, because we're going to be putting on lots of different events out of those open to
Yeah.
the public hours. So there'll be, I think we've got a huge screen in there, because one of the things that our community have said is we want to watch sport in the evenings.
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
We want to watch films. We want to have
Yeah,
film
yeah.
nights. We want to, run fellowship meetings,
Yeah.
and
I'd love to come and do an event. Let's chat. It'd be
yeah,
great.
definitely. Yeah,
Yeah.
we'd love you to come and do an event, without a doubt.
That's so
Art and poetry
exciting.
nights. Yeah,
Yeah.
honestly, it's all going to happen. So we just, I just hopefully everyone will keep an eye out on what we're doing. We've got a website set up, so information will be on there and social media and everything.
Okay, tell us what the website is then.
It is www.cornerstonecafe.co.uk.
Okay, and then obviously we can go to Essex Recovery Foundation on social media.
Yeah.
And
Cornerstone, I think, well, it will have all its own channels as well.
Socials, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I can forward you all the links and everything anyway. So
yeah, please do. Well, it's really exciting. Thank you so much for taking the time to chat to me. I wish you all the best with it. I'll definitely be over there ordering my flat white, and I'm looking forward to that. I mean, you're right. There are so many really naff cafes. Just like, stop it. Just give us really good quality, great coffee and a lovely environment. I don't ask for much.
No.
That's what we
Can
need.
I just quickly say, actually, the other thing that we've done is created like a library as well. So,
right.
We've got lots of bookshelf space, and what a really nice touch is that we've just got lots and lots of books, all relevant, all topical.
Yeah. Oh, I'll send you a couple of copies of Happy, Healthy, Sober then for your bookshelves.
Yeah, please do. Yeah.
Brilliant. That sounds such a great initiative. Thank you so much, Laurence. I really appreciate it. And I know it will be a huge success. And I'll see you there soon. Thank you.
Brilliant. Yeah, thanks.
So all of those links and info will be in the show notes. And just a reminder, please go to thesoberclub.com/events if you'd like to join our free webinar on Monday, the 29th, 7:30, explore a career as a sober coach. Just go to thesoberclub.com/events, click on the link there to register. And then the retreat that's coming up at the end of October at Homefield Grange Spa. You'll find all of that in retreats. There's also another date for one of my coaches, Tony, who trained with me, is running a series of online Zoom sessions for guys. Sober Guys Talking is the loose name of the project. And they've got their second date coming up. So again, you'll find info for that under events in the Sober Club. Just another reminder, as I say, kind of every week, if you're doing this, it's always the firsts that are the hardest. The first time you get the craving when you're walking around the supermarket, the first social event you have to go to, the first holiday, the first flight. It's the first. They're always tricky, but once you're over them, once you push through, you feel a huge sense of pride, and so you should. So accept that there'll be some firsts, accept that it might be a little bit tough at the beginning, but do the prep. And the prep is really just making absolutely sure that you've set your intention and that you've made this non-negotiable and that you've made a commitment and that you're going to focus only on what you're gaining. So, that I always say, don't ever use the phrase giving up. Don't ever use that phrase. You're not giving anything up. You're only gaining. So focus only on what you're gaining. That's the work. The work is getting excited about who you're going to become, getting excited about what you have to look forward to. That's the work that you have to put in, and absolutely get connected. So, of course, I'd love it if you were to join us in the Sober Club. It's very low cost. It's fabulously high value. We're an amazing bunch of people. It's very positive. I'd love it if you were to join us, but if you don't want to do that, just, join something else, do something else, or just tell someone. That's a start. You can absolutely tell me. I'll hold the vision for you, and I'll see you same time next week. Thank you for listening to the Alcohol Free Life podcast, brought to you by the Sober Club. Please rate and review. And if you want support, accountability, and inspiration, and you want to live your best life without the booze, check out thesoberclub.com.